Oh, hey everybody, welcome. My name is Josh Herman. Welcome to Gnomon's Art Jam. Unfortunately, Alex will not be able to be here today, and as you may be able to tell, I lost my voice, so I'm not going to be talking it a lot today. That's not true, I will be, but I'd say it'll be more limited than normal. If you've never joined the stream before, I'm going to be sculpting on a character that I've worked on a previous stream before. Specifically today, I'll be working on a dragon. I sculpted this character several months ago, I think, on stream. So you can go back and check that out. And I was actually working on it just before the stream started. And I stopped. I stopped working on it because I thought it would be interesting for people to see how I started to progress or what the next part of the project would be. So I'm going to jump into ZBrush here in just a moment so you can kind of see that. That's what we're going to be working on today. Please let me know if the music is too loud, if you can't hear me, if there's anything going on with that stuff, please let me know. We'll get started. We're going to be listening to some cyberpunk stuff today. All right, should we begin? Let's do it. Move some of this stuff out of the way. All right, so this is the newer version of what I've been working on. It's a little loud. Thank you for the feedback. We'll turn it down. Somebody says music up a touch. Bring back the music a touch and your voice up a touch. All right, I'm going to play around with these settings just a second. Whoop. And whoop. Whoop. We'll see if that's better. We'll try to get that into a better, more neutral, better place for everybody. But in the meantime, I'll keep talking so you can give me some more feedback. None of it is here. Hello, Cody Does Art says, okay, sounds good. Thank you. All right, so this is where I stopped. This is the previous version of this sculpt. So you may remember it from previous versions or previous streams. That's where we're at. And I decided I just want to turn it into more of a real dragon. So real dragon. This is the size, so I decided to make it a little bit bigger. And at this point, I started looking up some anatomy and some other references. And that is where I decided to stop because, again, I thought it'd be good for the stream. So I have a bunch of stuff in Photoshop we can go ahead and take a look at. This style of dragon is one of my favorites. I'll show you my reference specifically. Some of the other different types that we have. I was always a huge fan of the Reign of Fire dragons because they're very bat-like. The wings are super bat-like, and they're more kind of long and spindly. This is more of like a traditional dragon where it has 4 limbs and then a set of wings, as compared to you see here, which is 2 limbs and then a set of wings. So we're going to be going with the one on top here. And I pulled this reference because these Reign of Fire sculpts, which I believe were done by Miles Tepes, and painted, I think, by Jordan Shell and a couple other amazing people who worked on this project. But just really cool details. Great dragon designs. So definitely using a lot of reference from this. And since they were using bats, I decided I would pull some bat reference up. So this is what we've got here. And this is actually some of the anatomy that I'm going to be working on today for this wing. I love these shots here because you can see the real detail that's happening here in the wings. And then obviously some of our anatomical stuff, comparative anatomy stuff. And then just some more diagrams here. But we're going to basically be adding some of this structure to our dragon today. I don't know about this stuff down here. It'll probably still attach up here. That's okay though. But you can see how cool all these shapes are. So they don't have a pinky finger, do they? Oh, they do. There's just a ring finger and middle finger kind of overlapping right here. And it's essentially a hand. Right, so it's another set of hands that are right there. And let's get started. I'm going to put this over on my other monitor. So if you don't see it, that's kind of what I'm looking over at. I have some more reference up on my other monitor as well. We'll get jamming. Looking at the sculpts of the Reign of Fire stuff is great, but you don't really get a great sense of where this is all coming from. So that's why I wanted to have this stuff here. All right. So we're going to pull in some of the hand stuff. Maybe I'll pull in this slightly. I'm wondering if I should bring in an image. I think I should. Yeah, I want this one. I copied them straight from the internet. So I need to save these off real quick as individual images, or the one that I want as an image. I saw Dune last night, which was pretty amazing. I don't know if everybody has had a chance to check that out yet. But I really liked it. That does not need to be. I guess it's a PNG. That's fine. Whatever. It's gonna be pretty small. Is it behind me now? Almost. Dune was awesome. Yeah, I liked it. Did you see it in the theater, or did you see it in the HBO Max? I'm hiding this little person here. This is my scale reference. I'm going to be looking underneath the wings, and I'll probably actually take the wings and just transform this whole arm. Always repose it. And in fact, I'm probably going to resculpt this whole thing today. So we'll start here. Just quickly making this mesh a little cleaner. Looks like I got real smashed over here, so I'm going to just clean this up a little bit. I think this is a Dynamesh object. Yeah, it is. Cool. That means I can pretty quickly and easily do some adjustments to it. So it all kind of stems off this hand, which I think is really interesting. There's like a real defined, like almost tilt in the wrist here. So we're just going to try to make this very structural. Did a new term for Unreal Fellowship start yet? I don't know. I don't think so. Looks like there's a sort of a twist to this arm. the way that the bones will be laid out. So trying to set that up a little. There's no polygons here yet, so I can't curve that. But again, just trying to get a couple things here. Just pull this thumb out. This is actually the bat or the dragon's thumb. Let's pull out one of these here. This is actually 2 fingers. I'll dynamesh this. Get this little area here. And even though this seems like maybe we're going a little slow or being a little methodical about it, this is actually really important because this is what creates the defined bat shape on the bottom of the wings. Like if you think about the bat symbol, right, for Batman, that's what creates that. Is where the actual bones land. So it doesn't seem like something that's super important off the top, but it actually really is. And then you can also take a look at, I'll show you some of the reference that I'm looking at right here. You can see a little bit here, but it's actually more clear down here, where the digits kind of align on the fingers. Oh, this is a really cool piece of reference I found. This is a cool diagram here, but look at this. This is the difference between a bat and a mouse. So when they're actually growing, how similar they are. It's just like the webbing of what's created here. It's pretty interesting. So as a mouse and a bat grow, pretty similar structures, very similar structures, but the digits start webbing together and getting really long. All right, we got to do one more finger. And we have all of our things here. This one seems to be almost like just more supportive. It doesn't seem to go as long, and it almost seems, I'll show you this image here, it almost seems like it connects or bridges the middle finger and the, they're kind of like connected as like a supportive structure. I don't know if that's true or if that's how it actually functions, but it's kind of interesting. Getting ready for Halloween, coming up this Sunday. Anybody doing anything interesting, anything fun? Figured this was a good like Halloween mix. I'm trying to sculpt this, and I'm realizing I should just do this. No Halloween celebrations in France. What? Oh no. I don't know if people are here or doing trick-or-treating or not, but I miss trick-or-treating. This one seems okay-ish. I think my knuckles, first knuckles are too short. I think they should be here. Did I see the new Buzz Lightyear trailer? No, not yet. I saw the poster or image, I guess. Looks interesting. It's like the fictional Buzz Lightyear that Buzz Lightyear is based on the real life Buzz Lightyear. I don't know the right way to say that, but in the Toy Story universe, there's a real Buzz Lightyear who this is based on. Is that right? How am I going to model the thin skin for the wings? Great question. I already have one. I'll probably end up doing it as just like a cube, a very thin cube. I'm going to just enhance these knuckles a little bit. If you like David and Alien Covenant. Which David? Were they both named David? Thin these out a little bit. Definitely run into some weirdness here. I'm just going to kind of roughly sculpt the shape. Make sure it's looking real flat, as you can tell. That was not intentional, but it's okay. I don't mind that, especially with this. The one dissecting living things understand how it's made. Yes. Yes. Very creepy, that character. Let's do this. Let's lay this whole wing out. We'll do the classic T-pose. Oh, almost duplicate the entire object. There was a 2D animated movie about Buzz in the past. The explanation is it was a fictional movie in the Toy Story universe. Yeah, okay. That's kind of what I was... So it's not a real person, it's a fictional person in the Toy Story universe. Got it. Trying to get this a little bit more aligned, even though clearly breaking it. That's okay. Again, this is why I stopped doing this pre-stream, is because I wanted to show the process, because I think it's interesting. Looking at reference and how you actually tie it into your sculpt, or your character. Sculpt interesting heads and stuff like that all day and figure out what we're going to do, but the actual character, what they're going to look like, is really dependent on their structure. And so now this is what we have. This is what we had before. So you can see I had just roughly sculpted in, you know, the overall shape of the wing. There's no real structure. Now we have a real structure. not as appealing of a pose, but we can change that later. It also will give us a really nice way to adjust the overall wingspan and what that's going to look like, because we can do it in a flat view. What did I think of Dune? I thought it was really beautiful. That was an incredible movie. It's clearly a part one. When they say it's a part one, I saw that it was greenlit, which is fantastic, because I'm most certainly looking forward to seeing the next one. I was able to see it in theater, which was only the second movie I've seen in theater since pandemic. The first one was Shang-Chi, which was also really good. But yeah, I thought it was great. Really, really good. A lot of critics about it, though. I've seen some hot takes for sure. For me, I think it's Dune. If you know what Dune is, I think you'll like it. I think it's, Dune is a slow book, slow political book. Don't expect an MCU Marvel movie. If you've seen any of Denis' films, most of his films are slower, more heady. Expect that going in. That's the only thing I would say. This is fine to start with. So I do have this mesh here, which is what I had adjusted before from this one to this one. I'm not going to use this though, because I don't need this anymore. Shang-Chi, the bus scene in terms of CGI is gorgeous. Absolutely. That whole action scene. I mean, the Shang-Chi, the whole film is just such clearly a love letter to martial arts and wuxia films. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's just such a love letter to all those films. And it's so, there's not a lot of martial arts movies made anymore. I was talking to some friends about it, and when I was young, movies that I watched a lot were like Bloodsport, or the Bruce Lee movies, or Steven Seagal, or all these other American Ninja movies that were martial arts movies. They were just straight up martial arts movies. They don't really make straight up martial arts movies anymore, except for like Ip Man and maybe like The Raid and something. Even there was a Muay Thai one a decade ago, but there's not a lot that I can really think about that stick out anymore. I think that's kind of sad, and that's why I like Shang-Chi, because it's a martial arts movie. I love martial arts movies. They're great. I've probably seen, of all movies in the world, Bloodsport is in the top 5 movies that I've seen. Like the amount of times I've seen Bloodsport. When I was younger, I used to be able to do the splits, like JCVD does. Not anymore. Definitely not anymore. I'm just thinning all these out so we get to a better starting point. Because I'm about to create a plane here or a cube and kind of stretch it amongst all this stuff. I don't want it to feel like it's, I have to go in and sculpt all of it over and over and over again. Alright, let's get this cube. Insert cube. I'm going to make 2 separate cubes. One that's going to be for the top part, that's going to be for here. If we look at a picture of a bat, basically one that's going to be here, and then one that's going to be here. I could do individuals depending on what I need to do. For now, I'll keep it as one. Actually, I'm going to make one. I like it. Let's do it all as one. And to start, this will be fine. Turn this into a Dynamesh object. Oh, here we go. From here. So I know that I have this plane. Kind of looks like it hits here. Again, I'm using this picture as reference. So it kind of ends like midway up the forearm, or so it appears. From the bottom, that's easier. And while we're doing that, let's go ahead and just duplicate this. So I'm going to use my subtool master and just mirror. There we go. Ah, perfect. I'm going to make it a little thinner. Making it thinner so that when I use a smaller brush size, I can pull it like this, and it should come as one piece. If it's thicker, I might get into some stuff like this. It's pulling the top and the bottom. I don't want that. So that's why it's thinner, I can easily thicken it back up. So just make it a little bit easier to manipulate. Alright, so this is probably like kind of here-ish. Let's just mask all this. Doing the full mask like that all the way through should hopefully make it a little easier to drag like this. We'll start wing by wing, digit by digit. As you've never seen it before, you just watch a trailer for Bloodsport, you doubt you can watch it. I don't blame you. It's I didn't say it's the best movie ever. I just said it's a movie that I've seen a million times. First Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, if that means anything to you, which it probably doesn't. Also known as The Muscles from Brussels. Because he was a bodybuilder and a dancer. He was not actually a martial arts fighter. Who knew you'd be coming to the stream to learn about Jean-Claude Van Damme facts? I thought they would. We haven't saved, so this may be a bad one. I just tried to Dynamash, and he was not happy with me. Alright. Come on, ZBrush. Van Damme was not a karate fighter. Not initially. He was definitely trained in it. But he was a dancer and bodybuilder, from what I recall. So he's got some sweet dance moves. Looking forward to any upcoming ZBrush features. Did I watch the summit? I caught the highlights. Not any feature in particularly. I mean, I think there was always some cool stuff. And I always like to get my hands on it first, you know. Hold down escape, see if I can force this thing to respond to me. Okay, so we're just going to be waiting here. Look at this reference. Ooh, I need to switch to synthwave because this cyberpunk is a little upbeat for me today. Let's dial it down and bring this up. Slightly less. Is there any features that you saw that you're looking forward to? I might have to close this one. If it closes, I might get lucky and have an automatic save because I did not save any of the work that we just did, which is a big no-no, which is why I'm waiting so long. Yeah, he's Belgian. Random question. Is Jean-Claude's accent a Belgian accent? because it doesn't necessarily sound like a French accent. Y'all, I think this is going really poorly. I'm gonna have to kill this thing. Not what I wanted. Alright. If you close the program, you might lose information. Oh, there we go. Wikipedia say did some kickboxing very early on. It's not responding. Great, thank you. Let's go ahead and open up that dragon again. See if I can get this thing in here. Oop, hang on. Please hold. I don't think it saved it. I don't think it saved it. That's okay. Why, even though I usually turn off quick save, whenever I turn it off, I feel like it tries to screw me over to remind me to use quick save. Sorry, I'm just going through files, seeing if I can find it. Doesn't seem to find it. Very frustrating. What do we got here? Nope, this is where we started. This is where we started, which means I need to start over, unfortunately. But that's okay, we have our reference up where we did. I'll load that again very, very quickly. Actually, no, I have it on my other screen. That will be fine. I'll be using the reference that we saw before, which was this one. So let's go ahead and just quickly make those arms again. Reposition them. Alright, so let's hide the membrane. Let's turn this off. Let's just do this. Using my mouse. Alright, here we go. May the autosave prevail. I wish it did. I really wish it did. Can't rely on it. You really shouldn't. I'm not trying to talk bad about the feature. It's just don't ever rely on any autosave. It is okay to be paranoid about your files not saving. Dynamesh this, and we will look. I will be looking on my other screen. Smooth this thing out. Go to my smooth brushes. Smooth Stronger. If you ever use this or never use this, it's great. Really great for high-res Dynamesh workflows because it's just a very, very strong, smooth. I'm going to raise the whole arm up a little bit. You know what? Let's put this in a positive light. We sculpted it once, but it can be better. Good night. Thanks for coming to the stream. See you next time. We can make it better than last time. So let's do it. Yeah. I'm gonna pull this piece out. This is the thumb. Turn off the dynamic because it's trying to Keep the brush size very small. There's our thumb. Great. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull out this digit here. Goes this way. Dynamesh that. Smooth that out. Very good. Next digit here. Goes out this way. Making some bat wings, y'all, in case you don't know what we're making here. Also, Dynamesh that real quick. Smooth that out. Got 2 more to go here. We're going to make one first. These ones seem to get very close together. So I'm going to smooth all this. Yep. And we'll do the next one. Smooth. Oh, those got real skinny over there. And then we'll do this last one. Kind of goes here. Just gonna do this. Give that its own smooth pass as well. See, we don't need autosave. You know, it would have been nice, but we don't need it. Sometimes sound effects help. Highly recommend them. Alright, just a little bit. Kind of like here. Just going to give that a little inflate action. A little inflate action here. Because then I know I'm going to bend that. This one should be longer. Let's just give it a little stretch. What is your favorite dragon from all media? That's not a question that was asked to me. That's a question for the chat. Chat, what's your favorite dragon from all media? Going on here. I need to do something with my tablet. It's like the pressure sensitivities. Oh, the alpha's gone. That's why. Haha. Kind of went like this. Kind of went like this. There's kind of like a twist to this arm. It's the radius and the ulna overlapping, going into the hand. This is the hand. Has anybody got a favorite dragon? Smog is going to come. I feel like somebody's got to say Smog. What's the dragon's name from Dragon Slayer? Does anybody remember that movie? It starts with a V, I think. Never really a dragon guy. Game of Thrones dragons. I think Game of Thrones dragons are pretty cool. Rain of Fire is the best. That's the ones I'm using as reference. They're great. That's the ones I'm looking here. These bad boys. Just so, like, look how long. This is what I like about them, actually. Is look how long the wings are. Like how spindly this arm is. And it gave it a really interesting, like, crawling ability. I don't love this style of dragon. I already said that before, but the foreleg with the wings is not my favorite. But this type is great. This is the one from Dragon Slayer, I think. Or something like that. For Mythalax, is that right? I don't know. Hey, you know what we should do? We should save. We should save now that we made those arms. Alright, let's continue. Now we're going to make the cube that we said we would make. Alright, so now let's append that cube before we go crazy with this cube like we did last time. We're going to check out our settings on it in a moment. I'm really just going to squish this down to be pretty tiny. Come in here, geometry, Dynamesh. Turn the Dynamesh settings down pretty far. I don't need no crazy membrane. 16. It was done with NURBS modeling. Yes, it was. Pretty amazing. There is a... I was just looking at it. I wonder if I still have it up. Dragons of Rain of Fire. Is that right? Here it is. This is a little bit of the making of them. And you can see the actual heads here. These are NURBS modeled heads. If you don't know what NURBS is, it's basically spline-based modeling using patches. A very different and old school style of making stuff. But pretty crazy to see, like, I don't know when this movie came out, but this one, there's the female version of the dragon, I think, and the male version. What a patch is, if you don't know what a patch is, it's all the, you can see like the darker lines here. This is like a patch that's connecting to another patch. So this is a big patch, this is a big patch. And it was basically controlled by splines. Super old school, nobody makes stuff like that anymore. So I think a lot of the original animated series, or not series, shows were like Toy Story, speaking of Buzz Lightyear. I believe Toy Story was mostly NURBS, if not all entirely NURBS. But I think it would have had to have been. I'm trying to not pull this too far. Alright, looks like it went in here. Let's mask this off a little bit. Pull this down. Pull it in ever so slightly so it's actually touching the body. I don't want it to connect in the body, otherwise it will merge itself when I eventually Dynamesh it. So I'm trying to keep that separate. I'm not caring too much about where it's going in the arms right now. I'm going to keep that as a separate element to kind of control. There it is. I lost the chat for a second. Lost the chat. All right, here we go. Let's do the rest of the wing. So let's take this. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Maybe I should pull this up. We'll pull this up here. Pull this here. Drag this down. Too many dad jokes. I'm resisting them. There we go. Now we can Dynamesh without fear of the program crashing. Am I the special guest artist helping big, medium, small? I don't actually know what you're talking about. What is happening with big, medium, small? And no, the answer is no. Curious though. All right, we got one. Let's do the rest. Jama posted dragon sketches. Of course he did. Said something about an upcoming kit and a special guest artist. Wow. To be honest, I just like dragons. And I've been wanting to make one for a long time. I've never made a dragon fully. Done a lot of sketches myself, but nothing serious. In a minute, we'll take a break and we'll go check out those sketches because I'm curious. Jama does amazing work, obviously. Jama? Yama? I don't know. Alright, let's get this in there, and then we'll do the same thing. Keep it attached to this bottom point. Then we can also get a sense of how big the wingspan is. That was one thing when I was sculpting it previously. I had done a take on a dragon-like rock character or something on the stream before, and I wasn't really sure how big the wingspan would be because I just basically created it a fake way. But this way I have a much better sense, which I like. And now we can actually design the wing shape, but from here you can kind of get a sense of what the wingspan is. And also figuring out where the tail's going to go. You know, we have... That looks really dumb, what I have right here. I don't really like that. So I'm probably going to find a way to make this silhouette more interesting. Some dragons, like even the Rain of Fire dragons, do have sort of a thing that kind of connects to the tail. So I could try doing that. I don't necessarily just want to make fan art of the Rain of Fire dragons. I think something that connects it and makes the shape slightly more interesting could be good. Make this a very more production model. The reason you do production models like this often is because it's easier to do the things that we're talking about, like how big is the tail, how big is the wingspan, what does it look like when it's folded, what does it look like when it's unfolded. Can we texture map this thing so it's open so that when it's folded it looks good and when it's open it looks good. All that stuff is things that are put into production so that the final product looks better. But from an artist standpoint, it is usually not as fun or easy to sculpt or to make the asset. We'll manage. apparently I destroyed this tail. Did I just destroy that tail? I did. Whatever I did when I did this, crushed it. So let's just do this. It's fine. Close enough. We can give this a little tuck down into the tail. It doesn't need to be perfectly flat. But you can get a sense now at what the overall wingspan is going to be. And now we can kind of come in here as well and start designing a silhouette. I do like the holes in the wings. I've always liked that appealing. For some reason, that's a really appealing look to me. Alright, let's look at some bat wings. Is there like an arc? No, they're pretty consistent, aren't they? Except for this one. This one seems to peak here. It's cool. I like that. I like the shape so far. Alright. Now we just need to align all these limbs so that they're actually like in the middle of this thing. They might need to also be thicker. This one's clearly in the middle of it. It's too thin. That's okay. Just thicken it up until it's not. Just using the inflate brush all the way through. If you were to 3D print this or do anything like that, these would have to be very thick anyways. So I'm not being too precious about them. Again, we're just changing the overall design. So in case anybody's joining late, welcome to the stream. Making a dragon. And we had started the dragon on a previous stream. Rise. Saw some promo stuff for, what was it? The Munsters. I never really watched the Munsters. But Rob Zombie's doing the Munsters. Speaking of getting closer to Halloween. Any favorite Halloween movies out there? Super paranoid now, I need to save. I want to just take these legs and just spin them. This is probably more what the dragon will look like flying. Maybe not so squatted, but so comparably size-wise, we're kind of looking at something that's about yay large to before we were looking at something this big. So I definitely scaled up a bit. I'll keep the human roughly in the same place. Roughly in the same place. You'll see how much bigger this one is, especially from the top view. So we're getting the real wingspan of the character here. Let's start in the head now. So now we got the wingspan down. We could obviously spend oodles of time sculpting that stuff, but the head, the body is all now very, very rough. So let's spend some time on this. I want to give this character, this dragon, a ridge, a frill, if you would. So I'm going to do a block into that. And at this point, I'm also going to hide the arms and the membrane. This membrane that I used before, I can delete. So that can go away. And the arms, because right now they're a separate object, which I will maybe merge into one thing later. We'll remove that, and now we can focus just on this. I'm going to remove those legs. We're just going to treat it like it's its own thing. All right. So let's kind of block in the whole character. I like to work in the round. If you don't know what that means, it basically means I like to work on the whole character all at once. You can see I'm basically right now creating this little ridge. Let's make that go all the way down the character. Let's fix this a little bit. Oddly enough, a long tube like this is a really long cylindrical-ish object. It's very difficult to sculpt because it's, you know, a smooth here will change the whole shape of it. So just be careful doing that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try this technique. Let's just make a morph target. We're going to store the morph target in the top view. I'm going to turn on my intensity. It can be relatively low. Holding down shift, I'm going to go all the way to the end of the character. I'm going to let go of shift. That I ended up carving, which was a mistake. So let's hold down alt and shift. See this little red line? Let go of shift. I'm going to just hit 7. For me, that's stroke, replay last, lot. And that means so that from the profile, it was actually doing this. I couldn't rotate the camera to see it, which is why I stored that morph target. So now I can open my morph target brush, and I can push back the areas of this that I don't want. So I can turn down the intensity of that pretty far, and say, oh, well, you know, you can have that spine, that's fine, but not the whole way. Not at that intensity. I can also just smooth it. But I have my smooth, stronger brush on, which will absolutely obliterate it. I think this ridge could be a new, like a nice defining aspect of the character. I like this actually being up. I don't like those legs though. Yes, that needs a morph target, thank you. Since we're in this sort of flying pose, I might just have that. Make the legs more, okay, flying posed. Little stumpy little dragon legs. Alright, let's get in here for reals now. Alright, we don't need this little membrane. I'm going to delete that. Get a little skinny here in the dragon area. Let's pull this out. Some of these shapes. Dynamesh object, correct? Yes, it is. Great. All right. All right. Okay, interesting. Let's work on our dragon head. We have this part of the head. Oh, it's its own polygroup. A really weird looking polygroup now. It should probably just be like this. There it is. I also watched Ghostbusters recently. Ghostbusters is a really excellent, like just such a perfect film. Such a great movie. Does anybody have a favorite Halloween movie out there? I think the neck needs to be bigger too. This was initially the sculpt before this. This one was more of a bird inspired, so I was thinking vultures and condors and secretary birds and stuff like that, but I want to get back to like a more traditionally sized dragon. So some of this needs to be brought up, scaled up, bulked up to be something a little more beefy. We're going to focus on the head now. So obviously this is very rough. This is a good block out, but we need to do a lot of adjustments. And we have about an hour to focus on this head. So let's do that. I'm going to bulk up this section. I'm going to grab the bottom. It's kind of missing a jaw, so let's just give it a jaw. I don't think dragons really need ears, and I don't think this is an ear shape, so we're going to remove this. Generally, it's a little thin. Smog kind of had a thin profile, but I kind of like this, like, you know, more thicker necked dragon. I guess it depends on the smog, though, right? There's a cool winged creature in Ghostbusters. The original Ghostbusters? Or one of the remakes? Yes. There's 2 remakes. One is not out yet, I don't think. Where's this mouth gonna go? It's gotta go in here somewhere, right? I'm gonna figure out how we're gonna do this frill. I like the idea of the frill a lot. How's it gonna look? I'm not sure though. Have to figure that out. We could do something like this. Like the sea monster look. I'm kind of okay with that. Dragons and characters that you often want to see their teeth with can be difficult to sculpt in a concept phase because you often want to see their teeth. So you're like sculpting, at the beginning at least, you're basically sculpting like a sock puppet. And then you're going to add teeth to the sock puppet and figure out how it's actually going to be made over time. We could probably Z-remesh this, to be honest, once we get a better sculpt going. So it might be easier to sculpt with the mouth open for now, which I'm going to try. So let's try that. show the whole thing. I'm just going to mask this section. I'm going to smooth it a little bit, but basically crank this back inside. So give us a little bit of room there. If I smooth this, nope. Nope. Does it look like it when I... Okay. I did like what the Game of Thrones dragon did, where there was like the little ports or valves in the dragon's mouth. Used to watch Ernest Scared Stupid on Halloween. Ooh, Ernest. I used to watch all of those. Ernest was great. Recently found out an original Doom artist worked on that. That's interesting. Cool little tidbit. Alright, this is where the jaw is going to go. Give it a little bit of this action. Now the teeth, we could sculpt in the teeth, but I think it'll be easier and better if I eventually... I'll give it like a quick... This is where the teeth will go look, but I think it will be better if I do that as a separate set of meshes. But to block it out, this will be fine. What should the nose look like? This is like kind of the smog look, is like this kind of look. The long mouth. I'm not a fan of that though. I think I like the shorter crocodile monitor lizard look. Sweet looking dragon. Thank you, username Dude3. Appreciate that. We're getting there. We are getting there. We got our dragon. We got our wingspan. We got our membrane. We're working on bulking this creature up. Is a dragon a character or a creature? I guess it could be both. We should design this a little more. This is what we were working with before. Pretty sketchy and loose to get the overall idea out. And here we're looking at this. a little, let's get this little color. I don't see very many green dragons anymore, do you? I feel like the green dragon is like what people would expect a real dragon to look like. But they're kind of just cast aside. Probably because they're too expected. My art is very cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, let's like design the neck a little bit so it kind of intersects with the body a little bit. There's sort of a Stranger Things vibe going on. His neck looks like his head is going to fall off. I want to start dealing with what the cross section of this looks like. What I mean by that is essentially a cross section. So what does this shape of it look like at some point? I think the neck could be longer. Does the neck look short to anybody? I think the neck looks short. Let's make the neck longer. I think in here, it felt longer because the body, it hasn't really grown too much. The whole model is completely different though. It's kind of crazy going back and forth and being like, oh, this is what my base mesh was. It's just, yeah, the head can change like that, that's fine. I kind of just wish the wings were bigger. Let's make like a big dragon. We've modeled dragons in the past. Not many people add a wingspan large enough to carry the body, but those are some big wings. I've done up to this level before, but I was actually using some reference from Rain of Fire, and this is the reference that I like. Look at the size of this wingspan as compared to something like this. This is what they actually looked like in the film. Huge. If you've never seen Rain of Fire, Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey movie from the 90s or early 2000s, I believe. Check it out. This stream sponsored by Rain of Fire. I think I might make them bigger. Just because the head's getting bigger, right? That's maybe a tad big, isn't it? Well, perspective on it changes it just a little bit. Let's hide this. We'll use this as the overall look. One. We'll just do one. Dragon Slayer still holds up. All right. I haven't seen it in a very long time. I watched Rain of Fire somewhat recently, and for me it was actually, aside from the dragons, a movie that didn't hold up. Which is really disappointing. I think it's just the style of the movie making at the time. Like in the early 2000s, late 90s, there was a very specific style of making certain types of movies. And I think it just didn't, it's the style that didn't hold up. Not necessarily the concept of the movie. The concept of the movie is great. Post-apocalyptic, modern day, dragons take over. They were in the deep in the earth, and they basically blot out the sun, if I remember right, so that humans can't live anymore. The other thing about dragons is that they're smart. I love that about them. At least they should be. You think I'll take this to a completed high-res model? I would like to, yes. It's always kind of the starting point of like, I would like to do that. Yes, that sounds awesome. Will I? I don't know. Oh, now our scale person is being eaten. something needle-like. Let's give it like a shape, defined shape. Some of the muscle in the neck maybe would help. Let's see if we can get it in one stroke. That'll be fine, that'll be fine. Where's the eyes gonna go, everybody? Probably right here. Well, that looks really awful though. A lot of the dragons have like these ridges. Right, this kind of thing. I like this idea. Maybe it's off of that ridge. I don't like that eye placement though. There's something kind of weird going on here for me. I don't entirely know what it is. We'll figure out those later. Big placeholder for now, though. I think the nose. Should this like go further into the head? This feels like a lot like a dog. I think that's why I don't like it. I think I need some reference. Crocodile. Yeah, that's interesting. I like this one a lot. Here we go. Okay, really, you're gonna click more one. Let's save this. Let's go ahead and add our texture. Import. Texture. 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 Add to spotlight. There you are. Not fade. Scale. What I like about this image is a lot of things. But the irregularity of the face is pretty cool. I'm looking for samples, spotlight projection. And I'm going to save. All right. What am I doing wrong? I like the placement of this. I just generally like this whole gator vibe. I guess it's a crocodile, it's not an alligator, but I like this croc vibe. Long nose. I know I said I would do it open, because then you can see the teeth, but then it's hard to know what the mouth is going to look like shut. Sculpting characters like this is very difficult because of that. Right, let's shrink this. Let's use this gator. Let's use some of this gator ref. Over time, this will probably change, and that's okay. Okay, really. Apparently my thing is turned into the drag dot or whatever. I don't know why this happens. But it's alright. Use the move topology brush, which basically makes it a little harder to access other parts of the model. Just like how flat the bottom is, it kind of curves up in here, so we're going to do like take a little bit of this action. And the head is almost like its own like thing, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if we'll do that with this because it'll look a little weird. But we can probably create some pattern in this. Will you sculpt it closed or sculpt it open? Ideally, I have both. So right now it is both, but I'm going to probably Z-remesh it at some point. All right, let's just take a look at the head. What do I like about this? I like how the teeth, there's this kind of like rhythmic shape that isn't necessarily the mouth. Like so many little different areas of the mouth. Kind of goes down here, goes up here. The eyes are really close to the middle. They're kind of like here. That's kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and append our eyeballs. So, sphere. Make it a little smaller. Go down, we'll just put it in one of the eyes where we think the eye could go. I had said something like this before. I don't actually know. Does anybody know the difference between a gator and a croc, like off the top of their head? Let's make this object black. And then we're going to use our toy plastic shader to make it like a little black marble. There you are. So now go to M, color, fill object. Now we can switch back to any of these. I'm using this one. Now we have these little black marbles in there. Gators don't have such crazy shapes on the head, and they're wider and flatter. The pick is a croc for sure. Yeah. They're both equally scary. Yes. Agreed. Totally agree there. Let's see if we could do this. I'm just almost imagining like this little part here could be where this like little horn idea that I had kind of sticks out of. But it's kind of giving him little weird googly eyes right now, which I'm not a fan of. But we can also move this around, so let's see what we can do. Like tying all of this frill into like maybe some central column in the head. I don't know, that could be interesting. Maybe give these like a little bit of a, I think this is kind of what Game of Thrones did, but they had like these horns that like sweep back and then out. And maybe the central of this could be thicker. I mean, to be honest, if it just looked like that, I'd be pretty happy. So that's okay. If worst case it looks like this picture, it looks cool. Because the picture looks cool. So I am just going to straight up take stuff from this reference and be okay with that. Caprocus, I don't even know how to say that word. Kind of had horns like a prehistoric crocodile. That's cool. Let's see now. This is why reference is important. You can actually make something cool looking and kind of tie it into your idea if you use reference. Look like this part of the mouth. Pull that back quite a ways. Okay. Apparently that has its own undue history too. That I did not know. No, I like the words. Do like this kind of shape here. It's a subtle one in here. Let's get some of these other design ones in here. So there's like these little things here. Let's go ahead and try to put those in. I don't want to make it too repetitive because this is very like all of a sudden turns into like the sea monster, right? But I don't think that's really what we want. That's not what I want. So trying to find a way, maybe they like fold back here, and then they get like really small for a minute, and there's a bunch of them. It turns into more like a plated, serrated back piece. We'll run with that for a minute. I like the speed of what it has now. Like there's a certain sense of aggressiveness to it that I like. And that's all from that crocodile picture. Let's put some of these design lines in, some of these little quick wrinkles that might be there. This is just kind of be able to visualize the flow of the skin, the flow of the muscles, if there's any kind of a pattern. I find it to be helpful. Really kind of visualize that. This. It's not a cube. Did I make the wings from Z-spheres? No, I actually used Dynamesh on this. Actually used Dynamesh and it crashed the first time, which is why I just saved. We're going to work a little rougher around the body. I do like this shape that was here though. I'm taking this, bringing it into the body a little bit, finding a way, I think, for the anatomy. This needs to go over the arm. Well, sort of. The pec goes into the arm. The arm in general is pretty jacked up right now, so let's figure that out. And then I might Dynamesh this piece and this piece together, and then Z-remesh the whole thing, and that might be our kind of a close to a good stopping point for us. So, you know, project, Z-remesh the whole thing. Let's beef this out a little bit, inflate it. The inflate brush is giving me some really interesting patterns after I smooth it. I'm actually okay with that. It's kind of cool. Birds have like a bone in here. I believe it's called a keel. That all of their chest, pectoral, breast tissue, basically, if you were like a chicken breast, attaches to. It's like an extra large bone here. So I want to play around with that idea. Since it's not the four-legged dragon, right? This is a little different. And yes, this is where I'm taking the frill idea from, as the green dragon from D&D. But now all of a sudden, every time I do this, like, I'm like, okay, this is looking good. He's got a little weight on him, but not in a bad way. But now the rest of his body feels so small. Except for his arms and his wingspan. There's a part of me that just really thinks it should just be like, you know, like this. I kind of like that long tail, I'm not going to lie to you. Let's do it. Why not? His legs need to be way longer. I think they need to be spindly, because before I was kind of doing not super much, but more of like a squat. Thicker, more muscular version, and now, especially with these wings, where they're very thin and bat-like, more frail, the legs that I have just really don't fit. So I think they kind of need to be this longer, spindly style. The bird-like head, this one. This is when it was going to be more like a bird itself, less of a dragon. I feel like I should just kind of give it a little lift. Feels like it's kind of sagging. It should come like this way. Just there's like a weird, like, you know. Maybe that's okay though. I'll like embrace it and just go a little more. With those eyes as well. Those legs are way too long. They'd probably be tucked in a little bit. The top right here needs to be wider. All right, let's just focus on getting these big forms in. Then we're going to Dynamesh this whole thing together. And then we're going to Z-remesh the whole thing together. And then we're going to Z-project the whole thing together. So that's our plan. Just give this a little bit of a variance to it so that I can make it feel like it's connecting to the right thing in the right place. Even though I will not be Dynameshing the membrane. Just kind of want to make sure everything's set up before I do that. Put those toes when you fly. Drag. And let's just give this a little thickening. And thin all this. More than I expected. I don't know. I think that tail's way too long now. With the legs, though, it kind of works. I think the shorter one. I think the shorter one. I guess we could do one overall quick adjustment, which is I kind of want this arm to be up a little more. And I can grab the membrane and do the same movement. That will help me because eventually I do want it to be in a pose where it's kind of doing like this, and then like everything here. This would be really bad, but it's kind of doing this, you know. Just so it's not all T-posed and flat. It's really boring when you sculpt like that, but it's effective. This is why it's effective, because you're able to actually see what it's going to look like. and save one last time. We'll do our Z project and all that fun stuff. Again, in case you're just tuning in or just seeing how it's going, this is where we started. Pre-stream. I ended up loading. This is where it was. So you can see the adjustment there as far as from here to here, making it a little bit larger, exploring the longer arms, playing around with the neck size, all that stuff. So here to here, and then now we are here. So much larger, much more spelled out as far as what we're actually working on, a little bit clearer. Not posed in a standing manner, which is something we could do later. But it feels more like a dragon now, which is good. That was the goal. So from here to here. All right, let's hide the membrane. Let's hide this guy. And let's merge all this together. First, what I'm going to do, I've already saved. But I'm going to merge it all together, and then I'm going to duplicate the whole thing. So I'm going to keep the eyeballs separately. Those can be hidden. So let's merge down. Yep. Merge down. Yep. So now this is all one mesh. The reason we're doing this right now is because all this is different meshes that I had intersected with itself to be able to sculpt it a little easier. Now we're going to duplicate the object, hide one of them, show the other one. Come in here and do our Dynamesh. Need to be careful because it did have a crash earlier with Dynamesh. So let's go ahead and do it. Not bad, not bad. Esteban Riviera says, Mr. Herman, I'd like to say thank you for streaming and allowing us to be in on how you design your amazing characters. Thank you very much, Esteban. I appreciate that. Does this all look good? Yep. All right, 500,000 polys. This is Dynamesh now into one object. I could spend some time sculpting on it, but I feel like I've already done that. I feel like I've already done that. So I'm just going to ZBrush this thing. Let's just do it straight up normal. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to leave it at the target polygon count of 5. Just to see what this looks like. You're going to see the little bar go across the top. Let's see what we get. Okay. 26,000 polys, not bad. I don't see any majorly jacked up things in the fingers, which is what I was concerned about. That looks pretty good. Ooh. The face. I forgot about the face. This is where later, because I had sculpted this, it's still doing that thing for me. My issue, or what I'm concerned about, is I have to redo all those steps again now, but I don't want to sculpt this closed and then eventually want the mouth open. And then, well, now I gotta sculpt this mouth open with nice geo. Nice geo. Let's do it anyways. We'll keep it closed. It'll be easier to work on. We'll finalize the design with the mouth closed. It looks fine with the mouth closed. And then we will open it near the end, which is not going to be on the stream, not today, but another time. Alright, let's Dynamesh this again and go through that process. Shouldn't take too long. That should be good. Great. Smooth. ZBrush. Fantastic. Alright, let's see what this is doing. This is a little weird. I think there's an actual hole in here. Oh, no, there's not. This. I don't want this. Where did it go? This. Because I put those little peaks in the little spines, it's adding into some of the geometry, which is something I don't want. Did I check out the ZBrush Summit? Yes, of course. I haven't watched all of it, though. I just kind of caught some of the highlights. It looked amazing. I mean, ZBrush, they always do cool stuff. I'm going to kill all these. I think ZBrush is arguably, Pixelogic is one of the most innovative companies in our space because they're always pushing and always doing new things. And I have loads of respect for them for that. Not all of it works. You know, I think it's fair to be honest about that. There's parts of the program that I don't use that they've tried. But they do really incredible work, and they try really hard, and they make really good product. And once you buy it, you never have to pay for it again. You know, I think that's really awesome. I mean, obviously they have a subscription model now if you want to do that too. But all right, let's try this ZBrush one more time. Trying to get something that's got nicer geometry in these little tough areas. It would be nice to have more geometry in the face, but I have a feeling I'm going to be sculpting the face, not about separately, but I'm going to be sculpting it different and probably merging it in at a later time. So, alright, we were here. Great. Make sure there's no holes in this thing, no weird geometry sticking out. It's all one mesh now, fantastic. Subdivided a couple times. Then we're going to go over to our other one, which is exactly the same. I try to get somewhere around the same polygon count and or more. So right now, this is at 400,000 polygons. The original merged mesh was about 300,000 polygons. So I'm going to select the one I want to have the detail, make the other one visible, save. Then I'll do a standard project. Not bad, not bad. In case you haven't seen in the chat, we have some upcoming instructor spotlight episodes. Those are usually on Fridays. Talking about animation, visual effects, texturing, shading, and all that cool stuff. Dave Strapinis is one of our Houdini instructors. He will be on our instructor spotlight soon. There's an RSVP link in the chat right now for Eventbrite where you can get a reminder for that stream. That'll be on whatever you're watching right now, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I would also highly recommend you hit the follow us on whatever you're watching if you aren't already. That way you'll get all the cool notifications about when we're streaming, what we're streaming, upcoming things. We have a bunch of cool things on the horizon. Can't really talk about them right now. We have some cool stuff coming up. Excited to show you all what we're doing. I think you'll dig it. I really do. Now this is all one mesh, which is great. Doesn't mean the resolution is going to be a little higher, for sure. Right, so I need to kind of work around that at some point, or I might need to break it into separate meshes or just deal with a very high-res file. All that's fine. Any of that could be fine. But now, as compared to, if I have solo mode on, so this to this, I can actually sculpt in between sections, and I can just kind of treat it like it's one mesh, which is fantastic. But I got the benefits of working on it as if it was multiple meshes. What's great about that is you can isolate, you can work on things, you can change sizes of things independently. I don't need that anymore. So this is my nice one. This is my not nice one. So I'm going to save. I always do this right now. Save. And then I'm going to delete the one that has all the meshes intersecting in there. Clean up my file a little bit. I'll probably go ahead and make some quick poly groups as well. All right, let's do that real quick. So we'll just mask everything. You can make a really quick poly group by masking something. Hitting Control W. I'm not looking for perfect ones here. We'll go down to a low resolution to make sure that they're nice and clean, meaning some of these get little nasty edges like this. I don't want that. Let's make it nice and clean. Control W. Control W. So I'm going to try to gather as much of this as I can in kind of the right space. Let's do the legs. And this is really just kind of setting me up for the future. Meaning the next time I work, coming into this file will be a lot easier to work on. Sometimes when you load up a file, you're all excited to work on something, and then you see like just some basic problem. You're like, well, I guess I should fix that. And you start fixing it, and then eventually you just get like sidetracked or like distracted what you were actually working on or wanting to work on. Trying to avoid that. We'll do the tail. All right, everybody. Well, we are almost done with our stream today. Thank you so much for joining, hanging out with me, sculpting this dragon. I'm excited to keep working on this project. I'll probably keep working on this one for a little while here on Art Jam. We sculpting again here next week. Hopefully Alex will be able to join me. Wednesdays, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific, we'll be here. So come stop by, say hello. Thank you all very much. Perfect. There we go. That's great. All right, everybody. Thank you again so much. We'll see you next time. Check out any of our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, any of those social media platforms to find out more about what we're doing, whether that's classes, programs, curriculums, updates, cool pictures, student work, upcoming streams. Check out all that stuff. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.